going to go through my 10 breakout players for this season, not ranking. You can't rank breakout players. It's a weird thing to try to rank. But before we get to them, I want to kind of show you guys what my criteria is for a breakout player so you guys don't freak out and go, where's this guy? Where's this guy? There's reasons why we have some people over others. So here's the criteria for a breakout player. Either A, he's a young player who has moved into a starting role. B, a second-year guy with another year of development. No rookies. They must have played games last season. And no award finalists from the previous season. So if you're wondering where Donovan Mitchell or Jason Tatum are, they're not included on this because they already broke out last year, being finalists for the Rookie of the Year award. So no Jason Tatum, no Donovan Mitchell. So let's get to my first breakout player for this season. It is Lonzo Ball. I think Lonzo Ball is on the precipice of what is going to be a really fun season for him. He seems to be bulking up a little bit in the weight room. Not to mention, point guards in the NBA today, especially ones that aren't score first like Lonzo, their statistical output is very, very based on who is around them. And I think we saw last year with Lonzo, I mean, the dude averaged 7 assists per game on a team that didn't even win 40 games as a rookie. Those are great numbers. He's a very good rebounder and assist guy for a dude of his size. I know he's never going to be an elite scorer. I've said that multiple times. I don't think he'll ever average over 17 points per game, but for right now, Lonzo Ball should have a much better season. You put Brandon Ingram with another year of development. Here comes LeBron. Here comes a bunch of veterans in Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, Caldwell Pope's coming back. Rondo should push him as well. So my stat prediction for Lonzo Ball this year, I think he's going to take a big boost. I think 12.3 points per game for him next year, 9 assists and 7 rebounds. I think his assists per game are going to go through the roof. There's no reason why they shouldn't. He should be getting at least 3 to 4 extra assists a night just by passing the ball to LeBron James. Simple. Like, there's no reason why Lonzo Ball should not be one of the top 10 to 15 guys in assists in the NBA next season with how pass first he is as a point guard. So I think he's going to have a great year this year. I know that last year it was a very weird year for Lonzo Ball, had to deal with a lot of injuries. The shot was off for most of the first half of the year. But look, the dude was drafted number 2 overall for a reason. And I know his dad probably overhyped him for a little bit, but give Lonzo some time. He needs a little time to develop. He doesn't have as big of an NBA body as someone like a Ben Simmons. So give Lonzo some time. I think him working with LeBron this year is going to be really, really good for his development. So he's my first breakout player for this season. Let's go to my next guy, Markelle Fultz. Look, I trust Drew Hanlon, who's an NBA super trader, more than I do most media members, more than I do most members of my family. If Drew Hanlon says that this guy is going to be a star and that this guy is improving, I'm going to believe him because he knows what he's talking about. He's worked with some of the biggest NBA stars that we have in today's game. He's been working with Markelle Fultz to fix his jump shot, and he says that Markelle Fultz could be an all-star this year. Now, I don't know about him being an all-star, but I think Markelle Fultz is going to be a real player for the Philadelphia 76ers this year. I know that they stacked their guard position. They got Landry Shamet, they got Zaire Smith. So Markelle Fultz's role on this team is going to be very interesting, but they're going to play him a lot at the 2 instead of just playing him as a primary point guard, which he also can play. It's going to be interesting to see the dichotomy between him and Ben Simmons when they're on the floor together. Now, we'll bring him away in here because, again, Drew Hanlon says that Markelle Fultz could legitimately make an all-star team this year. Now, I don't fully believe that, though it is possible because the East right now is quite weak in terms of overall star power, but Markelle Fultz going from what he was last year to an all-star would be one of the biggest jumps that we have seen in the NBA in a long, long time. I mean, you also have to remember the Celtics are having a bunch of guys come back that are going to be probable all-stars. Gordon Hayward might be an all-star. Jaylen Brown was this close to being an all-star last year. You have to think that Tatum could also be an all-star next year as well. So there are spots open for Markelle Fultz on the all-star team, but there is still a good amount of competition. I think he'll be an impact player, but saying that he's an all-star, it's just a little bit too much for me. I think he's going to have a good year, though. My stat prediction for him, 11.4 points per game, 3.5 assists, and 3.3 rebounds per game. There will be a lot of times where he just drops 25, 26, 27, though. He does have that kind of potential on a night-in and night-out basis. All right, let's go to my next breakout player, Thon Maker on the Bucks. Now, Thon Maker, I have no idea how old he is. I don't even think he knows how old he is. No one in the NBA seems to know how old he is. He could be anywhere from the ages of 20 to 25. I'm serious. I'm not even kidding about this. But last year, we saw him just not be used at all. And the problem with the Milwaukee Bucks over the past couple of years, no matter what player you're talking about with them, whether it's Giannis or Jabari Parker or Thon Maker or Chris Middleton or Malcolm Brogdon, the biggest issue with this team has never been overall talent. The biggest issue with this team has been the fact that they've been one of the worst coached teams in the NBA since they've gotten Giannis. Whether it was Jason Kidd being an absolute joke, whether it was their interim coach last year who could do nothing during the play. That dude had no idea how to game plan for a legitimate NBA offense. So with Mike Budenholzer coming in, I think he's going to do so much for Thon Maker. I hope that Thon starts next year. It does seem that they're still leaning towards starting John Henson, but I think Thon Maker could still be an elite NBA center given the correct coaching. He'll never be putting up, 17, 18, 19 points per game, but he can still be an elite rim protector. So watch out for Thon Maker this year. Him plus Mike Budenholzer is going to be a really fun combo. My next breakout player is D'Angelo Russell. I am the #1 D'Angelo Russell fan in the NBA. I still think that he has superstar potential. The dude last year, when healthy, was quite good. He was good. And I know that his plus minus may not be great. Again, plus minus has a lot to do not only with who's, with how you play, but also with who's on the court with you and team defense. And I get it. The Nets are a bad team. But D'Angelo Russell as a point guard next year should just have a better team. His team is going to be better next year. They have a couple more shooters. It's another year of development. I mean, he had a very injury-prone year last year. I love their coaching staff. I love what they're doing in the front office as well. They're setting up D'Angelo Russell for a massive season. Another year of development for Jarrett Allen. Allen Crabbe had a good year last year. I know he's never going to live up to that contract, but he is still a good two-way player. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson should have another good year. They added John Amusa. They brought back Joe Harris. Karis LeVert is coming back as well. So they have a bunch of interesting pieces on this Nets team, but it's all going to run through D'Angelo Russell. The dude still averaged almost 16 points per game last year without playing about half the season. So if he is healthy this year, I think he could reach that 17 points per game mark. I think his assists are still a little bit too low and only 6.4 assists per game and 3.3 rebounds per game. But D'Angelo Russell should have a much better season this year than he did last year. I would expect a big-time bump for Russell with this new roster. All right, let's go to our next breakout player. I've been all over this dude. I am all over John Collins this year for the Atlanta Hawks. Sure, they drafted a point guard who does not fit John Collins' skill set at all. Sure, they have a shooting guard who can't really do much of anything except shoot. I totally understand that, but it doesn't matter because John Collins is going to be the best player on the Atlanta Hawks next season. And I know it's not really saying much because the Hawks are probably the worst team in basketball, but from what he showed last year when they finally put him in the starting lineup, if he's starting all year next year, he should be one of the best young players in the NBA. He is going to be a borderline all-star next year. He might average 15 and 8 on this team. Who's going to steal away points from him? I understand they've Trae Young, but with John Collins starting, is Taurean Prince really a better player than John Collins? Is Dwayne Dedmon going to be the guy that stops Collins from putting up stats? I don't think so. I think John Collins is going to be one of their primary scorers next year. He's going to be a fantastic player for them this year and from years to come. I still think the Trae Young-John Collins combo is going to take a while to work out, but the two of them in the pick and roll in year, maybe next year or the year after that, they're going to be a lethal duo. We have a super chat coming in from Robert Solomon saying, why'd you rank John Wall 10 on the top 10 point guard list? Even though the 3 years before he got injured last season, he averaged a double-double with 2 steals. Well, that top 10 ranking was the 10 best point guards going into next season. And frankly, with John Wall's team and the other amazing point guards that we have in the NBA today, he just he's not better than the other guys. I wouldn't take John Wall over Kyle Lowry right now. Lowry's been more consistent and he hasn't gotten injured over the past couple of years. You're saying, why is John Wall 10 when he's had multiple injury-prone seasons and the Wizards have underperformed every single year? I'm just judging John Wall off what he showed us over the past couple of years, which is, look, he's a great player, but can you really make it far in the NBA playoffs with John Wall as your starting point guard. I just don't think so, so he came in at number 10 for me. I might end up being wrong, but I still think the likes of Drew Holiday and Kemba Walker and Kyle Lowry are superior to John Wall at this point in his career. Thank you, Robert, for the super chat. Get that super chat in, guys. Use that little money button under the comment section. We will bring your chat live up on air. I will answer any question that is asked to me through the super chat. All right, let's go to our next breakout player. Talked about the Nets before with D'Angelo Russell. How about Jarrett Allen? Jarrett Allen was a godsend for the Nets once he was given the starting job last year. He was fantastic for them. Average double-digit points through the 3 months that he ended up starting. His offensive rating was really good. He showed some real potential on the defensive side of the ball as well. He's going to be the Nets starting center this year. 100%. He is going to start at the 5 for them, and he's going to thrive there. I mean, he has a great team around him in terms of getting the most out of his skill set, whether it's D'Angelo Russell as the playmaker that he is. Alan Crabb enjoys passing down low as well. DeMar Carroll, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson won the NBA skills competition last year. They stole the Spencer Dinwiddie on this team as well. So I think Jarrett Allen is going to have a big season for the Brooklyn Nets. I have him at 12.5 points per game, 7.4 rebounds, and also one of the better defensive centers that we have in the NBA. He's going to be a great player for the Nets going forward. I loved the pick when they traded for him last year, and I love him going forward. He showed some great things in the Summer League, and I think the Nets are primed for a fun year. They're not going to win a lot of games, but they're still going to be fun to watch. And honestly, that's all that the Nets fans can really ask for at this time. All right, let's go to our next breakout player, Jonathan Isaac on the Magic. Now, I'm a little bit confused about Isaac, so I'm not going to spend too much time on him, but my only question with Isaac, because I think he'll take a step forward this year, where is he going to play? Where is Jonathan Isaac going to play? Because they drafted Mo Bamba. They just gave Aaron Gordon a max contract. So is Isaac playing at the 3? He's a small forward who can't really shoot. But what is exciting for me about why I think he's going to break out this year, if he's healthy, he's going to be an incredible defender for this Magic team. He can defend 4 positions on the court. So if Isaac stays healthy and he gets another year of development, he should be one of the best defensive players on the Magic next year, if not the best or second best behind Bamba. So I think Isaac is going to take a big step forward. I don't know when his scoring is going to get there, but I think his defense will get there this season. All right, let's get to our next breakout player. You can kind of decide for yourself if Dennis Smith Jr. can be considered a breakout player. I do, because he shot under 40% last year, and the team that he's going to be on this year is going to be so much better than it was last year. So I think Dennis Smith Jr. is going to take another huge step forward. I think he's going to break out in a huge way. Him next to Luka Doncic is going to take so much pressure off of DSJ. You add DeAndre Jordan, that's going to help a lot in the pick and roll with Dennis Smith Jr. So he has a lot of pieces around him. They also added Jalen Brunson as well. So he has a bunch of pieces around him that's really going to help his overall development. I think his scoring is going to go up. I think his efficiency is going to go up. I think his assists per game is going to go up. Remember, Dennis Smith Jr. was the number 10 overall pick last year. He probably should have gone at least in the top 7. So whether or not you think DSJ can really be considered a breakout player is one thing, but with all the new additions that they have coming in and with how much space he is going to have next year, I think we can consider him a true breakout player for this upcoming season. Let's get to our next one here. Frank Ntilikina, Frankie Smokes, as I love calling him, the French gentleman who cannot score, but it doesn't matter. He was the best defensive rookie in the NBA last year. He was a fantastic perimeter defender for the Knicks all season long. A true lockdown player. I remember the Knicks going against the Celtics, and he was doing work against Kyrie Irving. It was really impressive what Frankie was able to show at such a young age from a defensive standpoint. Now, I don't know if his scoring is going to take another step, but what I think he's going to take a big time in terms of a development step, his playmaking is going to take a big step forward next year, whether it's getting the ball to Kevin Knox or getting the ball to Kristaps or Mitchell Robinson. Frankie Smokes' development is never going to be centered around scoring, but his offensive playmaking ability is what needs to improve over time because he already is such a good defender. So I think with more weapons around him, he'll continue to progress, and I think he's going to have another really fun season alongside of already being one of the best perimeter defenders in the Eastern Conference already, which is wild. All right, let's go to my last breakout player. It's De'Aaron Fox. Now, yes, De'Aaron Fox is absolutely a breakout player because, A, he didn't start all of last year. He didn't shoot the ball very well at all last year either. And there are so many fun pieces on this Kings team that De'Aaron Fox, in terms of his statistical output, is going to raise the roof this year. I mean, his points per game should go up, his field goal percentage, his three-point percentage should go up, his assists per game are going to go through the roof, Lonzo Ball style. I mean, you give him Marvin Bagley, that's at least 2 to 3 more assists every single game. Harry Giles is going to be on the team this year. His scoring should be a really nice addition to the Kings. Buddy Hield with another season next to De'Aaron Fox. So in reality, Fox should have a fantastic year for the Kings. They're not going to win a lot of games, but again, it's all about development with these young guys for Sacramento, and Fox is the key for this team going forward, and he's another reason why they didn't take Luka Doncic at number 2 overall. Let's go back through my top 10 breakout players before we move on. Lonzo Ball, Markelle Fultz, Thon Maker, D'Angelo Russell, John Collins. Then we have Jarrett Allen, Jonathan Isaac, Dennis Smith Jr., Frankie Smokes, and then De'Aaron Fox. I understand that, I'm being yelled at for not having Malik Monk in here, but let's see if Malik Monk can shoot the ball at a 38% clip, which was better than he did last year. So Malik Monk can't break out until he actually shows some legitimate NBA talent first.